All right, Inappropriate Earl, back in the house. And you're going to hear some buzzing going on. As many of you know, I bought all new Apple products, and I still don't know how to turn the alarms off. So sorry about that. We're not the most professional operation here. But it's a big week for Roast Battle. Season 2 is being taped as we speak right now. And I have on my couch a man I've literally known for 5 seconds. So this is a first for me, but he's the legend of New York. He's the New York Roast Battle champion, and recently beat the Roast Battle Season 1 champion, Mike Lawrence, and he's competing on Season 2. So I know a lot of people want to hear what this man has to say. New York Roast Battle against LA Roast Battlers. Put your hands together for Zach Amico.
Wow, thank you so much for having me, Earl.
Dude, it's I feel like I'm meeting a superhero because I've heard many things about you.
I assure you, my legend far exceeds the actual person.
Well, I saw your takedown. I think where you first came to fame is your battle against that really hot girl.
Yeah, that was my first battle ever, actually.
Now, how did you get roped into that?
That lovely young woman is Karen Feehan, and she was dating my podcast co-host Louis J. Gomez, who hosts Roast Battle in New York City, Roast Masters, and he decided to put us together for our first battle. I had been writing for other people for Roast Masters for like a few months at that point. I wrote on the roast of Big J. Okerson they did, and they wanted me to battle. I didn't know who to go against, and I think they put me against her to kind of test my merit. And she, at the time, and she's actually gotten very good, but at the time, she did not particularly understand, I think, all the concepts of what a battle was. I think she thought you just said mean things and didn't have to make it funny. And I took her to the ringer.
It was tough to watch.
Yeah. Not if you're me. If you're me. Out of those 3.5 million views, I think 1.5 million are me laughing to myself at home.
Because, out here when there's a bad battle, it's, or a one-sided battle, it can be good or bad for the crowd. Either they love it or it's like, oh boy, this is tough. So did you get the bug to do it after that?
Yeah, that definitely made me want to do it more and more. I was afraid I was kind of going to get typecast as just a guy that battles girls, as like this slut shamer type deal, because that's all people online wanted me to do. But luckily, I got some great battles with some really talented people.
Yeah. Now, who else have you battled other than Mike Lawrence?
I've battled Christy Cello, J.P. McDade, Joel Walkowski, Patrick Schroeder. I'm trying to think of anybody else I had that I'm not thinking of. That's because I wound up having rematches of all my battles when we did the tournament.
Right.
I had to reface Karen and Christy and JP.
Oh, Christy's the best.
Yeah, Christy's wonderful. I faced Christy twice now.
Now, when you go up against someone like Christy who's so likable, does your strategy change? Like, because she's almost automatically going to have the crowd on her side. There's the smile, and do you switch your battle technique when it's a likable person, or doesn't matter who's next to you?
I always try to let the writing speak for itself. I always try to be respectful up top. I never try to shit on the person. That's not really my deal. I'm excited to be there. I'm happy to be there. And that's genuinely how I feel. I'm not playing a character. With Christy, yeah, definitely the crowd's going to love her. And it is hard to go hard at her up top. So my strategy with somebody like Christy, who's super likable, is to start fun and then start to twist the knife a few jokes in. I think people's biggest problem with Christy sometimes is they call her fat right away. But nobody wants to hear that right away.
Right.
Then you're a dickhead. But if you get her on a few things first and then you call her fat, then it's just fun.
Like, where do you hit her first? The voice?
Yeah, you hit her on something easy first. The voice, the personality, for me, because, Dance with the One That Brought You, she fucks black guys. So.
Well, that's her problem.
Yeah. That's you got to go with your wheelhouse sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Now in LA, we get very inside baseball with our battles. Like we really, you fuck this person. I mean, do you guys in New York really go for the inside dirt?
We do. We kind of have, actually, Mike Lawrence established this. We have this thing now. If you're going to battle, we all go out to dinner and really just let loose and tell each other everything. Like even before we did the New York regionals, Evan Williams and I went out to a diner. And we just literally sat and told each other every sad thing about our life for an hour. And all I thought the entire time was, hey, man, anybody that's listening just thinks we're on the shittiest first date ever.
Right. Because it can get deep.
Yeah.
Some of the battles out here, it's like, my God, there's rape jokes, there's abortion jokes, miscarriage jokes. And I think some people go, wow, what's funny about that?
It works though. I've definitely attacked. The second time I battled Karen, I had a couple about her dating Lewis, who hosts the show. Chris, I don't think I've named any of the other than unless they're like a friend of mine.
Right.
I don't think I've named. I mean, I've known. Sometimes it goes poorly. Like I could think of a battle where a girl referenced a guy who dated a girl comedian who said he hit her, and that went poorly. The crowd didn't go along on that one.
There was that also happened in Montreal between Mark Norman and Tony Hinchcliffe. There was a deep cut that some people thought was too deep, but I'm of the opinion nothing's too deep. I mean, if it's true,
I agree. If it's a true thing, I think anything's completely on the table. I would never ask anybody not to say anything.
But I mean, that's to me. I mean, there's no rules to roast battle, but I do think the only unwritten rule is you can't make up a joke. Like there was a joke. I was at your battle the other night, and my ex-girlfriend was battling, and there was a joke that was made about me that was untrue, and it really bothered me.
Yeah, that bugs me too, actually.
Because it's like I know everyone in the room. It's like, it was something along the lines of I cheated on her and I didn't. And it's like, well, now 300 people are going to think I'm a fucking scumbag. So do you think there's any unwritten rules? And do you have something you won't do? Is there a line you won't cross?
One thing I try to stick with is if somebody is dating a non-comic, I won't attack them. I think the joke at the end of the day does have to be about the person you're battling,
right? Not
about someone else in their life. And I personally, if somebody's dating, for lack of a better term, a civilian, I would never attack a regular person just because they're dating a comedian, because I think that would discourage other very funny people from wanting to do roast battle.
Yeah,
to protect people that they care about.
Because I know we have a roaster out here, Pat Barker, who's probably one of the top ones, if not the best. And his wife, had an unfortunate miscarriage, and every battle he hears, I don't know if I could ever do that.
Yeah, I think that's a little rough.
I mean, that's there's not too many lines I won't cross in roast battle, but your opponent is probably one of the tougher dudes to roast. Matt Broussard.
Very, very difficult. Matt Broussard. He's very funny. He has great rebuttals. And, he's the same with we have JP McDade out in New York. I think they have a similar vibe to them.
Right.
Where they both write in their stand-up, they do short form mostly. And then on top of that, there's just not that much to them. You can only call somebody white so many times, or tall so many times, or there's just not a lot of bite to them.
And he's good looking, he's smart. I mean, he came from the financial business, and he's funny, he's successful. So outside of maybe, I don't know, and his girlfriend, nobody knows. I mean, she's really cool, but you can't really attack her because she's kind of unknown in the room. So it's how do you go about writing for him? How did you, do you look at his picture and go, he looks like this, or how do you do it?
Yeah. The first thing you do, for me, it was watching his Conan set a few times. I listened to his album, and I kind of got an idea through that of some of the angles I wanted. Then me and him spent about an hour on the phone feeding each other information. And from there, I just, I'm a big fan of outlining. I'll just make lists and lists and lists of ideas,
right? And
then try to start coming up with joke formats and see what I can plug in.
And were you nervous when you like when I was in Montreal, and, the roast battles here are so fucking nerve wracking in the belly room because it's like, to coin a wrestling term, it's like ECW. Like it's.
I'm an enormous wrestling fan, so yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I lose a lot.
I have a Cactus Jack Bang Bang on my chest.
Oh my god!
So
all right, so we're gonna get along great,
next to the Gigi Allen tattoo. So
I'm fans of both.
Yeah.
But ECW was cramped. It was wild, and so in Montreal, I really wasn't that nervous because it was like, wow, this is a lot less pressure than the belly room, even though there's cameras around. And when you walked out against Matt, what were the nerves like?
I was nervous all day until I went downstairs to get ready to go on stage, and it all went away. I was just all pumped. I was fucking. Ooh, I believe I actually, as I yelled out, as I walked out on stage, I yelled EC fucking W.
Oh, that's great.
How pumped I was.
Because it's, they did a great job in Montreal with the stadium and House of Blues. They transformed it. It was like an ECW arena.
That's what it felt like, the Thunderdome. It was amazing.
Yeah.
With all those people up top and literally doing like the Ring of Honor banging on the gate.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And how do you feel about your performance?
I'm very happy with it. At the end of the day, we're going to come out on Monday now. So at the end of the day, I went on stage at 10 o'clock on Comedy Central on a Friday night, and I got away with doing a Robin Williams joke, a Holocaust joke, and a 9/11 joke in a fucking row.
And you killed.
Yeah, and I had a great set. I knew that I was up against, I think I had a tough battle, and not taking any away from that. He wrote great jokes. He wrote incredible rebuttals. I had a feeling I was fucked before we even did our first jokes.
Why do you say that?
As Matt walked out, one girl went, "You're hot," and another girl went, "Yeah," and I was like, dude, if two girls did that in New York City, the whole crowd would hate this dude.
Right.
But in LA, it's like fucking badge of honor.
He probably had the home court advantage.
Yeah, but I'm not taking it. He did an incredible job. He beat me fair and square. And he was a great guy. He took me out Monday night, took me to a bar show and got me a spot. Really sweet guy. But I was very happy with my performance. Even though I didn't win, I completely did me.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think what I put on TV for this show was the perfect business card for what I do. The style of joke I do, the subject matter I like to play with. Everything was me. So while I may not have won, I feel like anybody who would have been a fan of the shit I do completely can latch on to what I put out there.
Oh, for sure. And winning or losing, it's all about putting on a good show to me, and you guys did. So whatever happens after this season, I'm assuming you might. In my head, I would do an all-star season in Montreal, like season 3.
Yeah, I agree.
But who knows? And I'm sure, win or lose, you're going to be at the top of the list because you're watchable. It was a really fun battle to watch.
Yeah, and I think something Jeff told me, because prior to this one, I come out. I for this one, I did my hair up. I have big Liberty spikes.
That was crazy.
I've never, and I do that for me. Like that's just a way I go out. I make horror movies on top of comedy, and whenever I do the horror movie shit, whenever I go promote, I do my hair up like that. I used to be in a goth band.
What do you put in it to get it like
spray? Just spray.
That was wild.
And Jeff had suggested to me at the regionals, he asked me why I didn't put my hair up when I battled, because he had seen pictures of me with it up. I said, I don't know. I just kind of don't want the audience to pigeonhole me as like this punk rock guy. And he's like, no, you want that. You want to be a character. You want to be roastable. And I took a lot from that. And that's why I decided to go a little more in on my look for doing the TV show.
Oh, yeah. Whenever I battle, I'm a character, which some people consider cheating, because people are going to write jokes about, like Alex Hooper's very famous for doing that. Like you go up there with Alex Hooper jokes, but you're not really battling Alex Hooper.
Yeah.
So, do you think, because I know New York battlers and LA battlers differ in their opinions on how to do the show. Like I would say New York battlers are maybe a little more serious. Like we don't use outside writers, and I myself do. I have no. I'm like Bon Jovi. I outsource my jokes and perform them. Like, do you guys look down at people who use other people to help write, or
No, I
you
certainly
care?
don't. I think in New York we definitely collaborate, and I'm definitely not going to shit on it because I do make a little bit of money helping other people.
Oh, sure.
So I definitely would not shit on that process. I do think one of the things in New York, I think we, and not necessarily that one is better than the other. I think we definitely value the writing over the performance.
Right.
A little more, like ours is more of a writer's showcase as opposed to performers. Not that either of those is right. Both can be great. And then I think one of the other tours in New York, yeah, I think we don't do a lot of the theatrical shit. That one of the first big theatrical like moments I think we had was me and Mike Lawrence came out as Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes,
Which is the best.
which was really fun.
I mean, if you like wrestling, I mean, Dusty Rhodes. I'm assuming you were Dusty
Yeah,
Rhodes.
good call.
What got you into wrestling?
Watching it with my grandfather when I was a little kid. I've always loved it. My grandfather liked wrestling. So as far as I remember one of my earliest memories is I want to say it was when my aunt was having her bridal shower. All the guys in my family went to my house and we watched, what Royal Rumble was it, where one of the bushwhackers came to the ring, walked in, and literally just got thrown right out. I
Right.
92 maybe.
Yeah, I think he set the record for the quickest.
Yeah, he like walked in, he did the dance, walked in, got thrown out, and then did the dance right to the back. And that's like my first wrestling memory.
That's great.
And I've loved it ever since. I'm fucking obsessed. Like to get ready for my battles, I sit and watch like hardcore like Necro Butcher matches. That puts me in my mindset.
I watch Sting entrances
Excellent.
because I became obsessed with Sting when he was battling the NWO,
Yeah.
and I tried to do a remake of his entrance where like the 10 Stings came in, and in my last battle, I bought 10 Sting masks, a couple Sting shirts, and it was probably the worst entrance in the history of the show. It just no one got. I didn't really tell people what to do, and like it was rough. So I spent $150 on this fucking entrance.
Yeah, for my Dusty, I just came out dancing. I was trying to get Yamanika Saunders to come out of the audience and dance with me.
Well, I thought you were going to get her as Kamala. That would be great if she came out with the moons and the fucking slightly racist. But
Yeah.
it's crazy how racist wrestling was when we watched it. Like,
Oh yeah, like people were like surprised Hulk Hogan was racist. It's like, who were Hulk Hogan's black friends? The guy in chains, the guy who danced with a parrot,
yeah, I mean, but I never like
his rich friend's butler.
as a kid, I never really. It's like, oh, Virgil's kind of like a slave,
Oh, absolutely.
and like Kamala was.
And then how about this? So why was he named Virgil?
I don't know.
Because he was in WWF, and Dusty Rhodes' real name is Virgil.
Oh wow!
So they
Oh.
named their slave after Dusty Rhodes. So then he goes to WCW to join the NWO. What do they name him? Vincent. To say fuck you to Vince for naming him
wow.
Virgil in WWF.
That's crazy.
They were basically like, this is how much we hate you. We're gonna name our black guy after you.
I mean, there's so many racist characters. I mean, Kamala was like just some unkempt savage. Couldn't
How about
speak.
Colonel Parker bringing Harlem Heat to the ring in chains when he won them?
I mean, and these guys must. I wonder what these guys think when they're doing this. Like, even when Tony Atlas was Saba Simba,
Yeah.
like, you must feel awful inside.
Yeah, it had to be a little demoralizing.
But I guess the money's good, and like
And I guess maybe if that's the only spot you can get,
Junkyard Dog. I mean, soul crushing to be that character.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first times now when you have the New Day. This is like literally the first time we've had black characters for a long time who aren't either one of two things, which is either militant and angry, or man, they just love to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch this era of product. I can't get into it. I like the Wyatts. I think they're good. They kind of remind me of characters from back in the day, but there's no storylines. It's just rushed.
Yeah, it's definitely rushed. I think they put out too much content. I think that's the biggest drawback now is they have too much TV time to fill. There's people. I love Kevin Owens. I followed him since I followed him on the indies for years, so I'm just happy to see him do really well.
Right.
And they just brought in one of my other favorite wrestlers as a writer, and he's doing really good.
Who?
Jimmy Jacobs. He had an amazing stable on the indies called the Age of the Fall, and it was him, Necro Butcher, who I just named, and Tyler Black, who's Seth Rollins now, and they had like this kind of like goth stable, but they had the greatest debut I've ever seen. So for weeks they're teasing this stable. You don't know who's in it. It was Ring of Honor. They have their first ever ladder match in Ring of Honor. It was a tag match. Briscoes and two other guys, and so after the match, Age of the Fall comes out. You don't know who they are. So it's Jimmy's little emo guy, his friend, and Necro Butcher's is fucking crazy hillbilly. Necro Butcher has his forearm and fist wrapped in barbed wire.
Real barbed wire.
Comes out, blows one of the Briscoes' heads open, right? I mean, just kills him. They take the thing the belt hangs from in the ladder match, string him up from his feet, and bring him to the ceiling. Jimmy Jacobs makes his, we're the Age of the Fall, this is we're here to destroy Ring of Honor thing.
Right.
Wearing an all-white suit, standing underneath him as he bleeds out all over him.
Oh my God.
Right? Then that's his ring jacket for the rest of the run, covered in this guy's blood.
Wow.
You feel that?
Yeah. Is this on YouTube somewhere?
Yeah, you can find it. It's the debut of Age of the Fall.
That's crazy.
And the guy who came up with that is one of their writers now, and he's starting to put cool shit in.
I mean, I hope so, because I think we grew up,
we grew up spoiled though, because we had the best of it.
Yeah, Hogan in his prime, Warrior, in his nonsensical promos, and like, Macho Man in his prime, like, all these. Great...
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school for the Monday Night Wars.
Oh, that was the best.
So I mean, it couldn't have been.
Bischoff was. I mean, he doesn't get the credit, but I mean,
I just interviewed Gene Simmons for my friend's podcast.
How did you get him? I've been trying to get him on this thing for years.
It's the network I'm on. We have another show called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, and it's Big J Okerson and Ralph Sutton do it. And Big J was out of town. He was here, and Ralph asked me to come and sit in. He didn't tell me who the guest was until like a day before. He's like, "It's Gene Simmons," and I'm with my best friend who also is obsessed with wrestling, my buddy Seeger. And he goes, "I bet you can't get him to say Eric Bischoff." I said, "Watch." I go, and he goes, "Zach, do you have any questions for me?" Like being a dick. I was like, "Did you teach the Kiss Demon how to wrestle?"
Oh,
and he immediately launched into a story, and he goes, "So my friend Eric Bischoff," and I was like, "Ha ha, motherfucker!"
Oh, I love it.
Got him to say it without prompting him.
That was when WCW was starting to fade.
It's the lowest. The night Kiss played was the lowest rated segment in the history of the Monday Night Wars.
That's got to kill Gene.
They ruined WCW.
Well, that character who was, I think, what was it, Dale Torbor? I think the guy who played Demon.
Yeah.
Was a great wrestler. Like,
yeah.
Just not a great gimmick.
Not terrible gimmick.
I don't even, I think he had one or two matches, and it just, that was like a dark time for WCW. Just, why do you think WCW went downhill so fast?
I think it was that guaranteed contract thing that Nash and Hall got. So they were just they're blowing through their money, because the deal, like they had the deal where Nash and Hall, if you got signed for more money, they got bumped up as well.
Oh, wow.
So then everybody they brought in was getting this deal, and Bischoff, I think, had unlimited money at some point, and that ran out. I think it's not his fault it went out. I think Ted Turner just didn't want wrestling anymore. Because, supposedly Bischoff put together a group of investors to match whatever Vince's offer was, but they just didn't want wrestling on TV anymore.
That was so heartbreaking. Like, it's like, wow, this is over.
Yeah, and there was a tinge of it for like a hot second in more recent years when TNA went to Mondays. They brought in Hogan and everything, but it just sucked. It just didn't work. They had so many good guys, and they just didn't.
Yeah,
work
AJ Styles. Like, how do you fuck up that guy? Like,
AJ Samoa Joe, who I think is fucking money.
Why don't they bring him up to the main roster?
I think they're going to bring him in for the Rumble. This is my dream booking. They bring in Joe for the Rumble, and I think the whatever the SmackDown title match should be, triple threat: AJ, Joe, John Cena.
Yeah, I mean,
because Joe and John Cena came up together. They trained, I believe, at least for a while, trained together. And then AJ and Joe obviously have this amazing history.
oh my God, I don't want to see him get hurt and then he can't. Like, I know he's like doing good in NXT, but it's just like this guy's too good to be in. Not that that's the minor leagues, but like,
yeah, I also think they could bring him in as because I think if Roman Reigns was a heel, I think they could have Roman Reigns, the Usos, his two Samoan cousins, as like his backup, as henchmen, and then Joe is like the Arn Anderson enforcer type, and have them be the new Samoan SWAT team.
now, why do you think Roman Reigns has never? I just can't get into him, and I don't know why. Like, he's got a great look. His wrestling's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he hits good moves. He hits that big that razor's edge, sitting razor's edge thing. He hits good moves. I just think he's not relatable like other big faces were. Austin was a blue collar dude. Cena got his ass kicked.
Right.
Like, people forget how many times, JBL killed Cena. Like, Cena was covered in blood so many times in all these feuds. Or Cena would get his ass kicked. The best Roman Reigns has ever been is when Brock Lesnar's beating the shit out of him and dumping him on his fucking head, and he's getting up. Roman Reigns is likable when somebody's killing him.
Do you think his lack of mic skills has? Because
100%. He's
pretty bad.
Awful. I don't think he should talk at all. Or if he does, it should be one, believe that or whatever. Goldberg didn't need to fucking talk.
Well, Goldberg, that first run with him was like
Perfect.
that might be the best character WCW.
Oh, without a doubt.
Just an unbeatable.
Yeah, but then he didn't talk, and he didn't talk, so you were interested when he said something.
Right.
Roman Reigns, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
He speaks.
My fear is it might be too late. Like, it's like he's already, what has he been, a couple years now? And it's like,
I think they could revamp him slowly. They don't have to do it overnight. I think they could slowly have him talk a little less, maybe change his moveset a little. I don't like that both his signature and now I'm talking in video games. I don't like that he does the punch and the spear.
right.
Because they're both run at the guy and hit him moves. I think he should do one or the other.
No, I don't like the spear because it just, to me, that'll always be Goldberg's move.
Yeah,
Not that
I
a
agree.
spear is, I mean, I guess it's a pretty basic move, but like,
Yeah, and then just have had so many. Edge used it, Rhino used it. It lacks the it's not it's never going to be his move.
right. Now, speaking of Goldberg, a lot of people had different thoughts on his battle with Lesnar. Like, I thought it worked because no one saw it coming.
I agree. I was mad as shit because I love Lesnar. I could fucking watch him do anything.
He's amazing.
He's a throwback human.
I don't even know if he's human.
Well, yeah, he's a different species.
I mean, I saw him work a house show out here at the Forum, and they had him up against Del Rio.
Uh-huh.
He's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
And he did 5 suplexes on him that were like they were nothing.
Yeah.
And then Rusev came down, and he put Rusev like 2 or 3 suplexes like that. To see it live and up close was just the most amazing physical things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, one of the most amazing. I saw Sarah Del Rey. Are you familiar with Sarah Del Rey?
Mm-mm.
She trains the girls now. She's Cesaro's girlfriend.
Okay, in real life?
Yeah, in real life. She's never been on TV. She was like the baddest bitch on the indies. Not too tall, wide hips, decent looking, but just a fucking machine. A kind of Ronda Rousey body.
Okay.
And I saw her overhead German Awesome Kong.
Oh, I love Awesome Kong.
But I mean, Awesome Kong looked twice the size of her, and she launched Awesome Kong across the ring with this, like, just popped her hips and threw her.
That's crazy.
So people forget how good a suplex can look.
Where is Awesome Kong?
I don't know.
I think she got pregnant.
That was years ago.
She's really frightening.
Yeah. She was in WWE. She got pregnant, did not have the kid.
Oh.
I believe lost it at the end.
Oh, that's all right.
Which is very unfortunate. And then I think was in TNA again for a few minutes, but I don't know what she's doing.
That's too bad she never really got a proper run.
Yeah, I agree. I think she could have done really cool stuff. Now they have the Samoan girl on the roster, but she doesn't do it for me.
I just can't get into the women's matches. They're great athletes.
I tell you, I was at NXT Brooklyn when it was Charlotte and Bailey. Not Charlotte, excuse me, Bailey and Sasha Banks. That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
the crowd was on. I mean, it was the most excited I've ever seen a crowd for wrestling.
That's great because I want to like women's wrestling. I just it almost looks like a choreographed Mortal Kombat. Like,
yeah, I know how you feel.
And they're great athletes. I'm not a woman hater.
Yeah, no. What I liked about Sasha and Bailey, I was at the Barclays Center. So they, I think whoever's training them, and I think Sarah Del Rey, who trains them, has a lot to do with this. Gave them the idea of you need to make this look more competitive.
Right.
So they worked each other's hands, like they were kicking each other in the fingers so they couldn't get holds on each other.
Oh, okay.
So like instead of breaking out of their submission, she was stomping on the girl's hand. So not only that she couldn't break it, so she couldn't get it on again.
Jesus.
So it was like, oh wow, yeah, this is like a competitive thing.
Okay. Well, I'll have to give it a second look.
I would watch Sasha Banks versus Bailey from NXT Brooklyn.
I mean, I'm so turned off by the current product overall. I tried to watch a SmackDown the other night with was it Orton against
Orton I can't fucking deal with.
It's the same moves. And he's great and all.
He's talented, but it's just I've seen it.
Yeah, it was Orton against Ambrose.
Yeah.
And the Wyatts were on the outside.
I just watched the other day. I was watching indie shit, and I read about a stable I had never heard of, and it was it was New Jersey, Jersey All Pro Wrestling, and they had a stable. Do you remember Trevor Murdoch?
Oh yeah.
So it's Trevor Murdoch, the Necro Butcher again, the Briscoes, and Luke Harper from the Wyatts.
I love him.
Amazing. I saw him and Necro Butcher in a Ring of Honor match. They were amazing. So at the time, it was Brody Lee. They were the Hillbilly Wrecking Crew. Right? They come out, and it was Homicide and a bunch of other like Puerto Rican and black wrestlers. They come out, stomp them out, put a fucking Confederate flag across their bodies.
Oh, Jesus.
And then cut a promo that was just racism. And I was like, when the fuck is this from? And it's like, oh, like fucking mid 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, that's because now in wrestling, they, I think for the most part, they try and avoid the racism.
Well, I think they just gotten called out on it so many times. I mean, fucking Michael Hayes, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I mean, he was, didn't he call Mark Henry the dirty word?
Yeah, he did.
Which is crazy because if you're going to call someone you shouldn't call anyone the N-word.
Yeah.
It's a horrible word.
But especially not Mark Henry. Jesus Christ.
Mark Henry, for those of you not knowing who we're talking about, is an incredibly large black dude. Literally is the world's strongest man, or it was at one point.
Yeah, has won multiple World's Strongest Man competitions. Olympic weightlifter.
That would be, I mean, that's, well, I guess you could run from him. He can't be that fast.
Neither can have you ever seen Michael Hayes' Freebird Road?
No.
Michael Hayes did a music video of like his tribute to Terry Gordy, where it's him drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels at Terry Gordy's grave singing. It is so watchable.
It's geez, you feel so bad for these guys.
Because I mean, anybody, not only do you have like your body's beaten up, you've been through addictions, you have to assume all your friends are dead.
Yeah. And you have no
even
money.
If you you're broke, even if you made it to 60 something, if you're a wrestler, all your friends are dead.
Yeah, for the most part. Like when I used to co-host with Piper, every person we talk about was dead.
Was he cool? I've heard nothing but Ari said he was great. Was Piper cool?
He was amazing. I mean, I cried more, on the day he died, he was supposed to come over here. And, the guy called me and says he's not coming over. And I'm like, I'm so naive. I'm like, oh, why not? Is he late? And he's like, just watch the news. And he was amazing. He'd come to the Comedy Store and we'd put him up on stage. And, he wouldn't really tell jokes. We could tell stories. And then he'd kind of want questions to keep him going because he would run out of steam after about 10, 15 minutes. And we would just yell out the most absurd questions. Usually I would lead the way and just, hey, how big was Kamala's dick? And he would have a story about it. And then, he was just amazing. And he was like a superhero. Like we were all starstruck that wow, one of our heroes he's here.
I just did I did a thing with Jake.
Oh wow.
I was doing a comic because I make horror movies with a company called Trauma. They make like low budget horror movies, and I was going out to this comic book convention with them because we have a movie coming out. And I said to the guy running, "Hey, I'm going to be here for the whole weekend. If you need me to host anything or anything, put me up because I want to work." He goes, "Yeah, do you want to moderate Jake the Snake's Q&A?"
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I couldn't be more excited. So I get there. I guess Jake did not want a moderator.
Oh,
he wanted
really?
to just do his thing. And I know he does the one-man show, spoken word at comedy clubs kind of thing. But so it's a fucking comic book convention in a hockey arena in Elmira, New York.
Oh, home of the Jackals.
Yeah. The audience is nothing but morbidly obese people, children, and autistic people. And yes, I know which two of those I already am. But no matter what the question was, Jake found a way to just take it back to what he was going to talk about anyway.
Right.
So it's just like some little kid, like, did the snake ever bite anybody? And he's like, my father was a pedophile.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's just, and the two things they tell me as I'm going up, they're like, all right, keep it 45 minutes and it's got to be light. Just keep it light, keep it moving, keep it happy. And Jake's literally going, I didn't hold my daughter on my lap till she was 19 years of age for fear that I would be sexually aroused by her.
Oh, my God.
Right? It's awful. And now he won't let me call on people. He's calling on people. So I'm just sitting next to a man on a stage while he tells his sad life story. And at one point, he's talking about living with DDP. He's like, we're at Dallas's house, and Scott Hall and I are face to face about to come to blows. And I went, oh, did he throw his toothpick in your face? I'm thinking like, oh, that's a fucking great reference. And he goes, what? And I was like, did he throw his toothpick in your face? He goes, no. And just keeps blows through me, hates me. Then he goes on a 10-minute rant about how much he hates Vader.
Oh, really?
Because I guess Vader broke his sternum twice.
But Vader's a strong fucking guy.
Yeah, Vader's. I love that. I'm obsessed with Vader. Another thing you should watch is Vader and Scott Steiner in JCW, the Insane Clown Posse Wrestling, faced two jobbers and just murdered these two kids.
I love that.
But anyway, so he rant how he hates Vader, he's unprofessional, he's a piece of shit. And while he's doing this, the people running the convention give me the time's up signal, and he keeps going. And the cast of Aqua Teen Hunger Force is waiting to come out. And they're like, everybody's waiting. Jake won't shut up. And they give me the, gotta wrap him up. I'm just like, all right, guys, Jake can only do another question or two. Then he's got to head out. And he goes, how about it's over when I say it's over, Vader? And I was like, oh, no. But like 10% of me was like, badass. He just called me Vader.
You do kind of look like Vader. Like,
I have the build.
If you like, I don't know, what was Vader bald?
Vader had like the little mohawk that went through the mask.
Right. I could see that.
And then, so then I'm terrified. So then I turned it because I've heard Vader smells. And I was like, well, Jesus, I hope I don't smell like Vader. And he goes, Leon, holy shit, and slaps me on the back, right? And then I'm like, okay, I want him over.
Right.
So the thing ends, he gets up and I shake his hand. I was like, Jake, thank you so much. An honor to sit here with you for an hour. And he goes, no, thank you. Well, he didn't really fucking do anything, and walks away from me.
Would you, in your opinion, do you think he was sober?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Which might have been why he was not pleasant.
Because I saw that documentary on Netflix. That was rough being a fan.
His whole, of the 45 to an hour he did, I would say half of it was sobriety talk and yoga and all that shit.
How did he look physically?
Good. He was thin. And walking good.
Because there was that other documentary, I think it was Beyond the Mat.
Oh, yeah. That's rough.
He was like trying to get paid in meth or speed or something. And I was like, Jesus, I don't want to meet any of these guys.
Yeah, no, it's definitely made me afraid to meet some of the other older guys.
But then you meet someone like Piper, and he couldn't have been any nicer, and he brought like Hacksaw Jim Duggan up at the store.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Sergeant Slaughter. And to like be doing stand up in front of Sergeant Slaughter was like most mind blowing. Like, this is like insane. So it was good to meet some of them. But now you did something called a naked roast.
Yeah, we did it at Skankfest. Legion of Skanks did a festival in New York.
So was it a roast battle, but everyone was naked?
Yeah, and the judges too.
I have to hear about this.
So the naked show is a thing they do at the Creek in the Cave in New York City. I've done it. It's really fun. A girl named Allison Klemp hosts it now. Used to be hosted by Caitlin Bailey. Both of them very, very beautiful. And yeah, it's just a naked comedy show. They do it at midnight once a month at the Creek in the Cave. The audience also has the option of being nude. When I did it, just one guy in the audience got naked, which was way worse than an entire audience of naked people.
Right.
Just one guy. I loved it. And so at the time when we were putting Skankfest together, we were joking around about what are like the hot shows in New York City. At the time, it was Naked Show and Roastmasters. And I believe it was Mike Brancatelli, a very funny comic who does a show called Part of the Problem podcast. He was like, oh, you guys should do Naked Roast Battle. And I was like, I will host that now. Make that happen. And Luis Gomez, who put together Skankfest, was like, yeah, we should totally do that. And we found comics that would do it.
Like who were the comics that
I'm trying to think if there's anybody you would know. One, Aaliyah Janine used to be a porn star.
Okay.
Now she does comedy out in New York. She did it. Caitlin Bailey, who used to host the Naked Show, they were the main event. It was mostly, lower level comics. And then our judges were Mike Lawrence.
And he was naked?
He wore a shirt.
Okay.
But he was bottomless.
My God.
Bronston Jones and Ari.
Well, Ari, I've seen Ari getting his dick sucked on stage.
Yeah. So,
literally.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
I mean, I still can't get that visual out of my head. Like, and that's why the Comedy Store is the best. Like, I think it was Ari and Dan Madonia arguing who had the bigger dick. And there was a porn star, well, I'll say porn actress. Star is probably the wrong word. I said, well, why don't you guys get on stage and I'll suck you off and see who has the bigger dick. And she did. It was the most amazing thing I've seen in 16 years of comedy.
That's brilliant.
And Ari couldn't, I don't blame him, but he was maybe having trouble, getting hard, but it was, I don't blame him. It was
absolutely
100 people in there watching, everyone's taking pictures, and she was trying to talk him into it, like, oh, that's okay, baby, I'm a pro, and like jerking his dick like a slinky, and like it was, and then she stayed on stage for another 20 minutes and took questions completely naked. It was just like I was crying, I was laughing so hard, and then I was like sad for her, like, wow, this girl's where did you go left where you should have gone right in life? And but you don't get that at the Comedy Store anymore. It's a little more like professionally run. But
so yeah, the Creek. This is so crazy. I ended the naked, and it was super fun. Everybody had a great time. And then at the end, so I hang out with some sideshow people, like circus performers,
right?
And I've hired a few of them when I do road gigs. Sometimes instead of a comedy MC, I like to hire a freak show act to perform in between the comics. It's just like something I've been trying out. And one of them is my buddy Arlo Price, and he was hosting for me, and his closers, he puts a rat trap off on his tongue. Not a mouse trap, a fucking big honking rat trap. And he did that. I was closing the show. He went back on stage and did the rat trap, and I was upset because it was my show, and I wanted to have the last big pop. So I went back on stage, and I set it off on my dick.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
So that's how I closed the Naked Roast Battle. I came back out, and I was like, you guys, these comics have sacrificed so much for you tonight, putting it all out there for your entertainment. And I want to prove to you that tonight is all about you guys seeing everything you could possibly see. And I fucking closed off a rat trap with my dick. It was the loudest I've ever heard a room get.
Which makes it all worth it.
Oh, it was so fun. And it's not that bad. It's a circus trick. If you catch it on the right part, you're not going to fucking kill yourself. You're not going to rip your dick off.
Circus trick.
The first time I did it, it was at a bar.
First time?
Yeah, I've done that trick like 4 or 5 times now on stage.
Oh, fuck that.
The first time I did it, I was at a bar show in Buffalo, New York. And this little chunky goth girl comes up to me after the show to ask me about it. And she takes me back to her car.
Oh, I bet.
She starts blowing me.
Oh, cool.
And she just looks up at me. She goes, your dick tastes like blood. I was like, yeah, we should probably just fuck then, huh?
With no rubber.
Oh yeah.
Just get all the diseases in there.
Listen, dude, I was in Buffalo, New York doing a bar show. I'm not going to buy a condom.
Oh, so you did have sex with her with no condom?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I've never done that, but like, I mean, did the thought of maybe disease come into your head or not really?
Not at that point.
Okay.
2013. That was 2013. That was a wild year for the kid.
Good for you, man. I like to see comics. It's not an easy job getting laid sometimes. Yeah, I mean, unless you look like Matt Broussard, you got to really work it.
Sometimes you really got to work for it.
Now, do you find roast battle has affected your comedy? Like, I find when I'm on stage now, especially when it's at the Comedy Store, people almost want me to roast them, and that's not really my thing.
Yeah, I'm a storyteller comic, so it's a weird transition for me. A lot of my bits are like over 4 to 5 minutes.
Right.
And people do want me to do like more one-liner shit. I have been heavily influenced lately. People told me that I should start taking some, because I always think to myself, oh, I did this bit in a row, I did this joke in a roast, I can't reuse it.
Right.
But there's nothing in my head saying, oh, I can't reuse that in my act because it's my joke. I wrote it. So now I'm slowly starting to incorporate some of my older roast jokes and incorporate them into my act, like using them as punches in my stories.
Now, do you? When do you go back to New York?
I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So today's Thursday, Friday morning.
And what's going on when you go back there? Just more stand-up shows?
More stand-up. I'm bad. I have the belt right now, the Roast Masters title. So I'm defending my belt on February. I think it's the 6th or 7th, whatever the Tuesday is, February 6th or 7th against Eli Sayers, who's very, very funny. He was on the New York Regionals episode. He's going to be my first challenger for my my title. I don't want to give it up. I want that belt.
I know it's. I mean, the belt out here, everyone wants it.
Yeah, that championship. But the first day I had it, my girlfriend came home because I stay up all night and she works in the morning. And she came home from work and she found me asleep with it. I had it on the pillow next to me. I like went to bed with the belt.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, you know, like Alex Hooper's the champ out here, and like we all want to beat him, and like he beats everyone for the most part. And I don't think people realize how important the title is.
Oh yeah, it feels. I love having it. Like I brought it out here just in case they told me to have it for the taping.
Right.
They wound up not wanting it, but I take it everywhere with me.
Yeah, and like, do you get everyone challenging you now?
Yeah, everybody. I think wants. I think everybody wants that belt. I think they're gonna start doing number one contendership matches. So people, if they have enough wins, can challenge each other to a number one contendership.
Okay.
And then they'll face me.
Because like out here we have a ranking system.
Yeah.
I think there's like 50 of us ranked, so it's pretty much, you know, based on that, you know. Do you guys have a ranking system in New York?
No, we do have the wins and losses like written down, but I don't think we have an exact ranking system. And then so now I've lost twice. I've lost to Broussard and I lost to JP McDade the first time we battled.
And he's great.
He's phenomenal, an incredible writer, really nice guy. He, I believe, is going to be in the first number one contender, the upcoming number one contendership. I believe is going to be him and possibly Scott Chaplin,
who was I thought did great in his match against Hooper, but like Hooper, you know, it was almost like Scott wasn't battling Hooper. He was like this almost a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but you know, he hung in there, and I told him after, you know, you stayed in the pocket and you kept throwing. So
yeah, and he played to his strengths. Like he went down swinging, and he was 100% himself, which I think is the most important thing on that show.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone loses in this. That's what I love about it. Is like there's no one that's undefeated. I mean, I lost to a girl who'd never done it before. You know, so, and then, you know, Matt Broussard's lost, Jimmy Carr's lost, you know, so it's like, that's what I love about it. Like, you can lose any match if you don't prepare. And,
yeah, or if they catch you with a good rebuttal, it can turn the entire crowd around, you know.
Yeah.
Like one great line, no matter how good you do, there's knockout shots that you're never going to come back from.
Especially in a 1 round tournament.
Yes.
For like Sarah Tiana got me on the first joke in Montreal, and she's awesome and I love her, but I was just, it's hard to play catch up in a 1 round.
100%, yeah.
But in 3 rounds, like I've seen guys bomb in the first round, or girls, and they win because they just, you know.
Yeah, that's how it went with me and Christy. I lost my first round. My first time I battled Christy, I got beat pretty good in the first round, and I just hung in there.
She's, she's winning more now, but like I would pay to watch her lose. Like she's so fun to watch and so likable.
Yeah, and she takes it so well, and she
Yeah.
reacts like I think one thing Lawrence told us that I take to heart a lot now is he said to me something like he goes, "You don't react to the other person's jokes," and that's a big problem. And I didn't think of it at the time, but the more you sell it. Like you sell their joke if you have fun with it, then the crowd likes you more. Then it's a more fun battle. And it gives the impression that, it is important for people, I think, to know that we all do like each other and that we're all having fun up there. It's the same as, why is it more fun to watch Cactus Jack and Terry Funk? Because they love each other and they're punching each other in the fucking face.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's so much more fun when you can tell people really like each other.
I mean, I won't battle with someone I don't like.
Yeah.
Then it's just shitting on someone. And it's like, if you're going to make jokes about, I don't know, my parents dying 2 months apart, I better fucking love you.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I love that we've built like this community in New York. Like these are not guys like Evan Williams is not somebody I necessarily would have hung out with all the time.
Right.
And now we're good friends because we battled and we developed this relationship.
I mean, I judged his battle with Christy, and it was awesome. Like,
oh yeah, it was very funny.
You could tell that they love each other, but they're just saying the meanest things. And I love Rich Voss so much, and the judge with him was like, he's just whispering things into my ear the whole time.
Oh, he's so fucking funny. He's so criminally underrated as a naturally funny person.
I just like him as a person, and which makes me think he's even funnier. Like he's just a good guy. So yeah, I do love the community, and I think New York and LA, we're family. Like everyone's cool with each other. Yeah, I mean,
when I came out here, everybody's been so nice to me. All the regular store battlers have come up and talked to me and been very, very complimentive and invited me out here again and been trying to get me shows and shit. Everybody's been so fucking nice. So it felt like you meeting the side of the family you never met yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when I went to New York, it's like, oh, they're not going to, I'm an LA battler. They'll probably be dicky to me. And everyone was cool. Except for one black guy I judged. He got really, he was reading from his phone the whole time. It was just like a major, like, I think you should memorize 5 jokes.
Yes.
It's not that hard. And he was like, well, fuck you, man. I'm like, oh, well, sorry, dude. It was a good battle, but I give it to the other guy because you were reading from your notes. And he got really pissed. I don't know his name, but like, it was like, oh, man, sorry, dude.
People wonder, it's fine. What do you think about this? People, I'll see tweets and shit, and I've heard other shit. Why do you think there's not a lot of black guys that do well as far as the battles?
I think the stereotypes are so, they're such big targets. Like out here, there's a couple funny black battlers, but, the slave jokes, it depending on what they look like. We have one battler out here who's great. His name's Albert, and he writes for WWE, and he's great. He's black, but he looks he's dark skinned, but he looks white. And so they bring him out to the Carlton dance, so he embraces the stereotypes. I think a lot of them don't embrace, like they don't prepare for the slave jokes that are coming, or I don't know. That's a good. I don't know why there aren't more great black battlers.
Because I feel personally, what I've seen, at the battles at the stand and at they also do one at New York Comedy Club. I feel that a lot of black guys try to improv a little too much.
Absolutely.
I think they try to go off the dome a little too much, because that's a big thing I got from my viral video, because my first battle I didn't know to memorize, so I have the paper in my hand.
Oh, that's all good. I mean,
and I'll still get tweets and comments and shit from people that watch the video and be like, yo man, roast's supposed to be off the dome piece, son. You can't be going up there with your jokes written. And I feel like that sometimes a lot of black comics, they take a pride in being very quick off the top of their head. and that kind of fucks them because they don't put enough preparation into it.
Yeah, you have to prepare. Like, there's
A
one
joke about somebody's shoes is never going to be as funny as a joke about somebody's dead family member.
Oh, absolutely. There's one battler out here who's probably the only one who can go off the dome, and it's George Perez. And he could come in here right now and roast both of us with, like, he's just amazing. I can't do it that way. I mean, I probably over prepare and write hundreds of jokes, and most of them are horrible. But
Yeah, I have a difference. I do. I'll write almost just a few more than I need, but then I spend a lot of time workshopping them.
right,
So, like, I know Mike will write a fucking 100 jokes.
all good.
I'll write 10, but I'll spend days working on those 10 where I take words out, put words in,
Right.
change it up, say them out loud. Like, see if I can add something like alliteration or an extra tag. Like, to me, it's all about workshopping the ones you love as opposed to writing a shitload. But that's everybody's different.
Oh yeah, and that's another great thing about the show is like there's no right or wrong way to do it. Me personally, I write more rebuttals than I do jokes. Like if I were ever to roast you, I wouldn't really write jokes about you. I'd be like, what's he going to say about me? And then, which some people think is cheating, like using rebuttals as an actual joke. But
Yeah, but everybody has a style.
yeah, because I'm not a great joke writer, so I figure I know where I'm going to get hit in most battles.
Yeah, and then when you do a good rebuttal, not only do you get the laugh, but you own what they said.
Yeah.
And it takes the sting out of their joke.
Yeah, it's a twofer. So I mean, like Mike Lawrence's jokes are like amazing, and like I remember in Montreal the first day he was like, "Hey, let me go over your jokes with you against Tom Ballard," and Tom Ballard's like amazing. A lot of people thought he beat Jimmy Carr in the untelevised season we did, and Mike loved my first joke, and then the next 10 he was like, "Are you sure about those?" Like, yeah, I was. He's brutal, man. So if you're gonna go over jokes with Mike Lawrence, be prepared
To have your fucking feelings hurt.
Oh my god! It's like this is the first day. I'm nervous, but I'm happy to be in Montreal, and I'm like on such a high. And then it's like when he said, "Are you sure about those?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess." So yeah, he's a legend. And how was your battle with him? Like,
Super fun. It was good because he knew he was leaving for LA. He hadn't battled since he did the tournament. So I took it as a huge sign of respect, and I really appreciated that he would battle me. It was a ton of fun. People had a blast. I think people were excited to see us because that was right after I had won the New York belt. And so it was like a champions versus champion kind of thing. People were super excited. I mean, the room was fucking electric, and it was really, really fun.
now were there other battles that night?
Yeah, there was 4 undercards.
And how did those go?
They went good. They got progressively better.
Right.
I think maybe the one before us or the one before us were 2 girls that bombed their tits off.
Because they'd never done it before.
Yeah, I want to say.
Do you find that happens a lot where like people look at your YouTube video with like 3 million views and go, "Oh, I want to do this now"?
I get a lot of people that come up to me at the battle and they're like, this is their first battle, and they come up to me and they're like, I watched your YouTube video and like I want to do that, and that's why I do that. And some people get it, some people don't. I think the most important thing is if you bomb your first one to do it again as soon as possible,
Absolutely.
because then it takes the stink off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time who have a bad battle out here, just ask Moses right now for another battle. So
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I think, at least in LA, like if the battle's good, people half the time don't remember 10 minutes later who won. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
as long as it's a good battle, people are like, I don't think they care who wins. They just want a good show.
Yeah, they just want to be entertained.
But a bad battle, they'll remember for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I can imagine in New York, a bad battle's remembered harsher than it probably is out here.
Yeah, I think we're pretty competitive. We do take it pretty. You're right before when you said we are pretty serious about it. We take a lot of pride in it having the best joke or having the moment of the night or whatever.
Oh yeah, and we do out here too. I think because we all know each other so well. We're all friends, so it might be a little friendlier of an environment. There's not too many mean-spirited battles.
Yeah, I can't say that there's been too many, and I can think of 1 or 2 that I've seen. Saw one guy run out of the room crying,
Really?
which is pretty brutal. But he came back and battled again. He did okay another day. But I think one or two, or times people have asked to have because we tape all ours. We're actually not doing that anymore. We're just going to put the only 2 battles that are going to go up are going to be whatever the main event was, and they're going to pick the best of the 3 undercards.
Okay.
And that's going to be what goes on YouTube now. But a few people that had asked to have their battles taken off because they thought something was too personal that was said, which I completely disagree with. But
well, you know what you're signing up for when you.
Yeah, I agree. I think if something's going to hurt your feelings that bad and it's not your friend that you can have a rapport with to see how it's going to be handled, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, because it is, you know, if you're battling someone good, no stone will be left unturned.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like when Mike Lawrence went against Ralphie. You know, it was like Ralphie, who's an amazing comic and just an amazing dude. He probably should have been a little more prepared for, you know, maybe divorce jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. That was pretty. That last shot of his face when the sirens are going off and he just looks fucking flabbergasted.
Yeah, I mean, to be in the room too, it's like, man, this is tough.
Yeah, I was with Mike when he wrote those. Or when he was in the process of workshopping them.
Right.
Me, Mike, and a few other comics were all sitting together. And fuck, that fucking the hardest part of Ralphie's divorce is getting the ring off his finger is such a perfect line.
Yeah, it's like there's no rebuttal. Like Mike's jokes are, you know, he leaves you almost nothing to hit back on. And like the joke he did about your wife left you.
You lost to that fan on Last Comic Standing. All that. I'm only making fun of your weight because the only thing you've never lost. That's brutal.
Your wife left you 6 months ago and got half. If she would have waited another 2 months, she would have gotten everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, my God. That's like a fat joke and a divorce joke.
Yeah.
Like, so, and Ralphie's great, but he just...
yeah, those multi-layered ones are real motherfuckers. Like the when it diverges and you think it's a joke about one thing.
Yeah.
Like my favorite thing I ever wrote, I wrote on when we roasted Big J Okerson. I wrote a set for his at the time current wife. They were going through a divorce. And there's a real story. Jay's wife caught him, and he's told this on the air. She found a phone number in his wallet, and that was like one of the big fights they ever had. So I wrote this joke for her. That was one time I found a phone number in Jay's wallet. It was, and I just made up a number, but it was, you know, it was 212-213-4122. But it wasn't a phone number. It was a ranking of how hot the last 10 girls he cheated on me with were.
Well, yeah, it's, you know. But you know, Jay signed up for the roast.
Yeah.
So,
but it was so it was a real thing.
Right.
It was a Jay cheats joke, and then it turns into a Jay fucks ugly chicks joke.
And did he end up divorcing this?
Yeah. No, Jay's with his current.
I love her.
For a long. Yeah, Christine's wonderful. And by the way, his ex is wonderful too. But I actually thought it was really cool that she came and did his roast.
Yeah.
Like while they were, you know, splitting up. It was really funny.
Oh, I can imagine.
And she was a surprise. Like she wasn't on the dais. They announced her from the back of the room.
Oh, I love those surprises.
It was really funny.
I mean, Big J's the best.
Oh, it's the first person I ever did a show with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a comedy class, and the final. It was for when I went to NYU, and the final was either a paper or 5 minutes at Eastville Comedy Club, and they let me go right before Big J. And that was the first night I met Big J, and Big J's manager at the time said, "Would you actually like to do comedy?" And he gave me a job at CB's Comedy Club as a doorman. That's how I got in.
And like, did you just start with open mics and?
Yeah, I started doing open mics, and then it's funny. My first ever open mic was at the Cake Shop, and it was the night I met Mike Lawrence, Dan St. Germain, Jared Logan, all these people that wound up doing so well. Literally, my first conversation with Mike Lawrence. I've been friends with him since then. Yeah, and then I started working the door at CB's and eating checks for like probably about a year and a half, 2 years. I did check spots. And that's how I did more check spots than I did open mics.
Now, check spots for you guys not familiar are the worst spots to get because you know you're on stage. It's pretty late usually, and the audience is getting their bills, so they're not really listening to you.
Yeah, they hate you.
And then when they get their check, they're trying to figure out who owes what, and you know, do we tip? And like, so you're talking to a crowd, but they ain't listening.
Yes. Or sometimes even there's a fucking hell room in New York City called LOL Comedy Club. It's a tourist trap of tourists. I mean, every shitty thing you hear about like Barkers and shit, we have Dave Chappelle tonight, we have Eddie Murphy, that's that room.
Right.
And I had to eat checks there for a while. And not only was the crowd miserable because they thought, Tina Fey and the cast of Family Guy was the fucking acts they were going to see, then the fucking drinks were astronomical. Everybody's bill would be like $75 a person. Right. Or something ridiculous. So I would be on stage and I would go to do my first joke and people would just be yelling their bills at me.
Oh, really?
$78, like just screaming whatever they had to pay.
And was this a white or black? I mean, was it?
It was mixed. The late show would always be mostly black,
which can be tough for a white comic.
Yes.
It's.
Yeah, it was. There were a few scary hood situations.
Really?
Yeah, I quit that club because a lady got on stage and tried to punch me, and they gave her free tickets and apologized for my act.
Were you being antagonistic?
Not at all. No, not at all. I was doing a story about my life, and I think I might have done a bit. She was Spanish, and I did a bit about. I used to for a little while. I was dating this Spanish like witch, like did like all the fucking goofy, yeah, all that goofy shit, Santeria, and I was doing a bit about that. And the punchline was something about coming in a Puerto Rican chick is the same as getting cursed by a witch kind of thing.
Right.
It was a dumb joke, and she was very offended. And yeah, she constantly tried to punch me. And then I just remember the manager giving her free tickets and apologizing for my act. And I said, I'm never going to work here again. I'll never. They've never stopped emailing me for avails, and I've never responded.
Now, when did you first start getting hope in comedy? Like, hey, I'm good enough to do this. Like a couple years into doing it.
Yeah, it definitely took me a lot longer than a lot of other people. I luckily had a friend base pretty quickly. I'm meeting Jay and Luis Gomez and Dave Smith, the Legion of Skanks guys. So I pretty much stayed in to be around them, even when it was really tough. And right when I start, Lewis and I do a podcast called The Real Ass Podcast. When we started that is when I started to kind of get more hope.
Right.
Because then I started slowly building a fan base and getting people out. Like people would say, oh, I listen to the podcast at shows. That's when I started to get hope. Like that's because for me, what I do, I'm very dark, I'm very dirty, and I'm long form. So I know I'm not for everybody. And I know when I do a showcase show, I'm not going to be everybody in the room's thing. But I also know that the people that do like what I do are going to really like it. And I rather build that fan base one or two people at a time than to try to appeal to everybody.
Right.
Because that's just not who I am, and I want to be true to myself. So, slowly getting those people together, and now with the podcast, and then especially with having the viral video and getting to do Roast Masters more, slowly just building fan base.
Sure.
Having people buy tickets to see me for the first time is so encouraging.
And now with Roast Battle airing, it'll really...
hopefully that'll spike my numbers a little.
Oh, it will, for sure. I mean, it's done wonders for me. So thank you, Jeff Ross.
Yeah, I can't thank Jeff enough. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's given us all a second hope at comedy. Because it's a business based on TV credits. Like, if you want good spots. And, I mean, I'm assuming it's the same in New York, but out here, it's like... If you're not on TV, you're going to be going on at 1:30 in the morning.
Absolutely the same.
If that.
Yeah, and I just the announcement that I was on the show, I've already booked a couple road things, and a club that was using me prior, a road somewhere not too far from the city, but a road gig, tripled my rate just because I have the credit. Yeah,
I mean, a Comedy Central credit, it's like their number one show right now. It's up there. And it'll go on for a while. I mean, as long as the battles are good, I could see this show going.
What's the dream? To me, the dream is that it does what Last Comic Standing did and takes everybody out on the road.
Yeah, I mean,
now, if we could imagine like between 8, 12 of us out on the road, and we just switched opponents, or we could even battle the same people because it's live.
Yeah, I mean,
the people could just see us, work on shit. But just imagine, like, every night so many battles and we all switch around, it would be fucking amazing. It would be so much fun.
Oh my!
And I think it would sell fucking big tickets.
Oh, and you could have L.A. versus New York. You could have All Stars.
I think it's got a lot of legs.
Yeah, I mean, because what was it? Yo Mama went 6 seasons, and that was pretty
Dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't stolen jokes, but I mean, Yo Mama jokes are pretty like generic, and so I mean, I think these jokes are so original that we do,
and because our shit is so personal, where the audience is learning about us, so they connect with us more than if we were doing generic material. You look like blank fucked blank,
right?
They're actually learning about our lives and learning about who we are as people, and I think they get a connection with us more.
Yeah, and most of us are likable.
I would say,
most of us.
Yes.
There's a few who aren't.
Yes.
I won't say who, but you'll see them on season 2 of Roast Battle. Some of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to get cryptic in my. I'm not a very shit talking person. I like to almost throw out these Jake the Snake. There's only 1 or 2 people I don't like in this world. I don't like to directly say it. I like to do like an Ultimate Warrior style promo of nonsense and let people figure it out.
Yeah, you know what? I think if they watch, they can tell.
Well, yeah, they'll know the.
You can see through people's bullshit.
Oh, you can. And, you'll see it, I think, when is your battle on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
You'll see one of those people on Friday night. And you can try to figure out who. There's all kinds of karma in this world. All kinds of justice. But that's another podcast. So this is the part of the show. First of all, thank you for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
I know that you're a busy dude out here, and you actually took an Uber from the Valley. So I've always wanted to have you on, and I was like, I don't do mobile podcasts, so I lose a lot of guests because they have to come here. Which is probably why Gene Simmons might not ever appear on this. I don't imagine Gene Simmons coming to my house, but it's possible.
He came to our studio is at one of our houses, and he came.
I mean, I hold out hope. I see his son Nick at the gym every day.
Yeah. Hey, if you would like to have Gene come on and not talk about anything interesting and just plug his fucking casino for an hour and a half, you live that dream.
But I would go deep with him because I'm such a Kiss fan. I'm a huge Kiss fan. And I like Kiss more in the 80s than I do the classic Kiss, which is sacrilegious to say to most Kiss fans. They're like, you like it when Vinnie Vincent was in the band? I'm like, yeah, lick it up. This is great. So I would hit Gene with those questions. And
I asked him about playing a hermaphrodite trying to kill John Stamos.
Yeah. What was that? Trick or Treat? Or no, what?
No, that was another one. I'm going to fuck up the name, but he was impressed I knew. He was impressed I knew the weird movies he was in. Yeah,
because he was also, I think, in George Clooney's first movie, Red Surf, where he played like a Yoda. It just didn't work, but I think he would love questions about Red Surf and.
Yeah, I didn't know a shit ton about Kiss, but I'm more of a punk and new wave kind of dude. But my good buddy Blade, who's a wrestler, on the indies in the Midwest. He's actually a man. He had to retire because of concussions. He's a manager named the Midnight Rose. You would love his gimmick. So he's wears a suit with a flower luchador mask, and he only speaks in the TV edit lines from Scarface.
Oh, I love it.
So be like, how'd you get that scar? Eating pineapple?
I love it.
He's so fucking funny. And he manages this guy named Mr. Fitness, who's a fat guy. Not a fat guy, but he's an out of shape dude. And his weapon is the shake weight.
Oh my God.
So they hit people with the shake. Oh, it's fun. That was a great gimmick.
I mean, that's why I love the indies. They just put so much more effort into it. Out here we have PWG.
I want to see PWG so bad. I've done Ring of Honor. I've done Evolve. I'm going to House of Hardcore when I get back. I haven't PWG. I fucking love.
Yeah, I've never been because I never can get in.
Yeah, it sells out in a minute, right?
And they you have to wait in line for 7 hours, and then I'm the worst. I just want to sit down and go in. But I used to go to XPW shows out here, which was beyond hardcore.
I'm very familiar with Homeless Jimmy.
Yeah, he was great, and you had Vic Grimes. Who Supreme was a man I saw almost get killed at a
Oh, and God damn it, who's the John Wayne Gacy?
Chaos.
No, the John Wayne Gacy guy.
Right, Pogo the Clown.
Yes, he was amazing.
Well, they had some. I mean, there wasn't a lot of technique.
No,
but they. I went to a match at Birmingham High School and it was packed. And they had the ring announcer was like dressed in a Nazi uniform, and he would do the goose step walk to the ring. And Supreme, for some reason, they had one side of the ring it had no ropes, so they had Supreme get up on this, probably 50-foot ladder, and the ladder was really not working properly, and he fell onto the side of the ring that had no ropes, and he was down for like a half hour because his ribs hit the edge.
Jesus,
from really high up, and the girl next to me was crying, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "That's my husband." I'm like, "How much does he get paid for this?" "Oh, he got $250 for this show tonight." And it was just like, and then they prop him up again. How he got up, I'll never know. They put him onto the ladder that's even bigger, and the stunt was to tip the ladder over, and he was supposed to hit this table full of light bulbs and barbed wire, and so they push him over. He overshoots the table and just hits the concrete. It's just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember. I've done thumbtacks. When I was in I played a goth band, and I used to go a little wrestling crazy. So I've done thumbtacks. Those suck dick.
How do you get them out?
What?
How do you get them out of your
pick them out? Thumbtacks suck. I've done a few big concrete bumps. I'm covered in like Sabu scars from cutting myself. I have Triple H forehead.
Oh, not really.
When you look deep, I have a couple real good ones from scissors.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and I've done that. And then I did a pro wrestling movie called RumbleCon that my friend directed, and we had all indie wrestlers come. And I did like the staple gun and all that shit, which is staples are nothing. Staples, you could do staples, trust me.
Fuck that.
It's a quick pinch. But the thing that sucked, I took a big splash on concrete from this guy. His name on the indies used to be Lucifer Darkside. Now I think it's King Jeter. But at the time he's this 489 black kid. And I said, I want to do it because all the indie guys show up to shoot the movie with us, and we're going to take a montage of us taking moves. And I was in a tag team called Twisted Justice was about the movie. And I was to take all these moves, and we're going to do all these hardcore moves. I go, before I do the hardcore moves, I want to take a splash from him on concrete. And I just remember this guy's 49. He looks, he goes, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I'm thinking, yeah, because I was like, I'm excited to find out what the trick is for the big splash.
Right.
Like how it's not going to suck. No, it sucked. It was horrible. I thought I shit my pants.
Did he did he not go where he was supposed to, or?
No, he did it right. It just sucked. It hurt so bad.
Like, where did he land? Like, what landed on what?
His belly landed on my belly.
And that's how it's supposed to be.
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what. He was mostly belly. Like, he had tiny legs. He was all midsection. And he just fucking landed on me. And I really thought I shit.
And when he landed on you, does he say, "Hey, you okay, dude?"
Yeah, right away. He was great.
And what did you say?
I see, I'm fine. I laughed. Like, that was my reaction, was to how bad it hurt, was to just laugh. Because that's like whenever I do like the weird hardcore wrestling shit, when I used to, I always just like, if something really hurt, my reaction was to laugh.
Now, did you think of blading or anything for your battle against Matt?
No, I don't think it would carry over. I think I would just look crazy and not funny.
Okay.
I've thought about doing more like wrestling. I want to incorporate more like entrance stuff in New York because I think we need the theatricality a little bit, and especially how well it went over with me and Mike. So right. I think I'm going to encourage people when they battle me to have like an entrance and shit, so that we can kind of make it more of a show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when I do the naked roast battle next time, because I did the rat trap last time, I think I want to do staple gun next time and have the judges staple their votes to me.
Oh my God.
I think that would be really fun.
Hey, what? Yeah. I mean, well, if I got to the finale in Montreal, I wanted to come out as Buffalo Bill.
Oh, sweet.
And they said, yeah, we'll just blur it out if something pops out. But unfortunately, I didn't get to the finale.
I wanted to do, if I made it to the finale of this, I wanted to come from the top like Sandman.
Right. Oh.
And I wanted to walk through the crowd.
That's my favorite.
With a beer and a cigarette.
I don't think you could have gotten the rights to Metallica.
No, I think people would have got it even if it was just like a heavy metal riff.
Oh, I love the Sandman was like, he was the best. I saw him wrestle. I saw him wrestle an XPW show out here at the Olympic Auditorium, which is a pretty big venue. It's now a Korean church, but it was only like 100 people there. It's like you just felt so. He came out with Major Guns from WCW. Remember that big kid?
Yeah. She was in all the hardcore wrestling. Don't try this at home, like the backyard wrestling videos.
Oh, those videos were amazing.
Yeah, and then she would like be in between, like pouring water on her tits, in between all these like high school kids.
Yeah,
pile drive each other on concrete.
The first run of those backyard videos, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my life. Just these fucking hillbillies doing like, swanton bombs off of a roof and missing
and setting each other on fire and shit.
I wish they'd. I guess you could go on YouTube and watch that stuff now, but it's kind of like the original Faces of Death. You ever watch Faces of Death?
Oh shit, yeah.
But like the first couple seasons were great, and then
yeah. There's actually a Mexican version of Faces of Death called Traces of Death that at no point attempts to be because Faces of Death always has this thing where it's like, well, this is for medical, this is a documentary on death, and there's the narration. And Traces of Death is literally just footage of car accidents and murders set to death metal.
Okay, I might be into that.
But it's like exhausting to try and watch.
It's I have a pretty weak stomach for I think I checked out on Faces of Death when they showed how they get fur coats and they skinned like something alive. I can't watch this anymore. But I mean, I can barely watch hardcore matches when the blood starts flowing. Some of those Japanese matches are like burning barbed wire.
Yeah, my favorite match of all time is Necro Butcher Samoa Joe.
And where was that, in Japan?
No, that was IWAMS. It was right after Necro had won King of the Death match. Joe had just won this big strong style tournament, and they have it's my favorite match. There's almost no weapons. The only weapons they use are a chair and the guardrail, but it's a fucking barn burner. Like they swing for the fences. Joe kills him. I mean, he exploders him off the apron and doesn't pop him over. So Necro just lands on the top of his head on the floor and leaves his head in blood.
Oh, Jesus.
And then Joe powerbomb. So Joe puts the guardrail in between the second and third and power bombs Necro on it. And completely misses, just hits the back of his head on the guardrail.
I mean, that was like what was crazy about XPW. It was like, like they didn't seem like they practiced the moves. It was like almost improv danger wrestling. Yeah,
it's just my only qualm, like the CCW stuff is like too violent for me now because of like the cinder blocks and shit. And it's just like I just want, like, I'm happy Dean Ambrose got to the big dance. Right. Sammy Callahan was there for a minute, who I love. But I feel like these guys, I feel like there has to be a conversation at some point where it's like, where is this worth how much we're shortening our careers?
Right. Yeah.
For this, because we're not going to make it to WWE if we continue to do this.
Because they don't really, WWE, they don't really do the violent matches.
No, not at all.
I mean, unless Seth Rollins is injuring people.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's so dangerous in the ring?
I don't think he's dangerous. I think that move is unpredictable about how you're going to land that apron power bomb.
I mean,
because that's what he got Sting with. That's what he hurt Finn Balor with. And didn't he hurt one more person with it?
Well, he probably did. I know he broke Cena's nose with the knee to the face.
God, that was fun to watch, though.
I mean, Cena's nose. I'll give Cena this. That's a tough bastard.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. People don't give Cena credit for some of the beatings he's taken.
I mean, to continue the match, to finish the match.
With your face fucking askew.
I mean, I'm a big Sting guy, so I was a little...
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. The guy's fucking 56.
Yeah, I think they should just retire the buckle bomb. I don't think it's worth the danger because I don't think it looks good. It doesn't look like it hurts that bad. You're landing on padding.
Right.
Like, nobody thinks those are hard. We've seen Georgie Animal Steel fucking eat them.
Yeah.
Like, and for the injuries that people are getting to the how effective it looks, I think Kevin Owens' apron bomb looks a lot better.
Right. No, it does.
But those moves are scary as shit. The apron moves that everybody's on the indies now, because the apron's the hardest part of the ring.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I was just, that's when I checked out though, when they fucked over Sting, and just like, there's no way Triple H should have been the guy to.
Yeah, that didn't make sense in the long run. I don't think it paid off. And also, I don't like the Triple H. And as much as I think Triple H has gotten a lot better. I mean, I thought his match with Daniel Bryan was amazing at WrestleMania 30. But I feel like he's kind of made himself the Attitude Era guy when he never was.
Right.
Like he has that image of, him and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. And it's like, you're not one of those dudes. You never were. You weren't Bret Hart. You weren't one of these guys that carried the company.
No.
You're the guy after.
Right.
When all those guys were out. I think, to me, the most criminally underrated, I think Raven deserves a lot more credit.
Yeah, he was great.
For what he did for us. I mean, he was the top non-NWO heel in WCW forever.
Yeah.
He was ECW.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's the biggest problem when they do all the revisiting ECW shit, is Shane Douglas and Raven don't get the credit as the guys that were the company.
I love Shane Douglas.
Yeah, because they always say, you had Taz and Sabu and RVD. Those guys wouldn't have been shit if they didn't have Raven to fucking be the company, or Shane Douglas to be the bad guy of the company. And then Steve Corino as well was the bad guy. Yeah. And I think they've rewritten ECW history so much that you forget who actually was. When you rewatch the pay-per-views, those were the guys drawing money, either because people wanted to see them or they wanted to see them get beat.
Yeah, I mean, Shane Douglas's promos, like,
incredible.
He meant them. Like,
oh yeah,
like when he's shit talking Ric Flair, and like no one's gonna shit talk about Ric Flair.
Yeah,
and, like Shane Douglas was like, this guy's a fucking dick, and but I think he burned bridges with WWE. Didn't he come into WWE for a second? And
yeah, he was in the he had a skateboard. It was him and Johnny Ace.
And it didn't, like, I think he shit talked McMahon in real life, and it's just like,
yeah, he did. He made poor business. It's so funny because him and Foley trained together,
right? And
you just think about two different paths.
Yeah,
playing the game right and playing it wrong.
Yeah, because now he's probably doing those autograph signings, and it's pretty sad.
And Ric Flair's such a cocksucker about. As much I love Ric Flair, because I know Shane Douglas, I think, worked at Walmart for a while.
Oh,
and
really?
Somebody asked Ric Flair in an interview, "What do you think about what Shane Douglas said to you?" And he goes, "Oh, you mean the guy that works at Walmart now?" Just such a cocksucker about it.
The ultimate roast battle.
Yeah. What wrestlers do you think would be great at roast battle?
Well, they're all dead for the most part. I mean, let me see. The Rock.
Yeah,
100%. He'd be great. I actually did one of my first roast battles was against John Morrison.
Oh, cool.
He was a little in over his head, not because it was me, but I told him, hey, it's a pretty rabid atmosphere, and just be prepared.
Did you do a joke about Batista fucking his girlfriend?
I did.
Yeah, that's my boy, Earl.
He did a joke about my ex cheating on me, and it went over pretty well. And I was like, yeah, well, at least she didn't fuck some guy named the Animal. And his eyes were like, you fucking bastard. But, he was a little overwhelmed because he was like, Earl, I've been in WrestleMania. I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, yeah, but this ain't WrestleMania, man. It's different. The energy's like... I can't imagine what 50,000 people is like in an arena, but in the belly room, like when it's packed in there, it's a special energy that is just unmatched. Even though one girl, we had a situation a couple months ago where a girl wanted to battle in front of Mike Lawrence, and she kind of skipped out on the room and then reported us to the fire marshal. I think... I don't want to say her name, but she might be a New York comic. I think she moved to New York to do comedy. Her last name rhymes with Cable.
I don't know her, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I don't want to,
of course.
I don't want to be online bullying, but the crowds are, and the show I did at the Stand, the roast battle was a great energy. It was different, but it's,
the Stand's is the same, about probably seats a little less than the belly room. Stand, I think it's supposed to be an 80 seater.
Yeah.
But I think they pack a little more in. But it's the same when that room's full, and then when it's hot, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was completely full for Christie and Evan's battle, and the judges, were like Big J and who's this short, muscular guy?
Aaron Berg.
Yeah, he's great. He was great, and Rich Voss, and Jeff Ross came in, and Patrick Milligan. I love.
Yeah, he's great.
He could be a wrestling manager.
Patrick used to run websites for wrestlers.
Oh, really?
He ran thosedamndudleys.com. And he ran Fat Chicks with Hardys. He used to run a website that was just pictures fat girls posted of them with the Hardy brothers. And it was like a joke website. It was really funny.
Well, if you're in New York, go to the Stand.
Yes. 20th and 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Milligan runs it. He's the best. And Zach does a lot of shows there, right?
Yes.
And any shows coming up?
Yeah, I'll plug my my battle with Eli Sayers beginning of February at the Stand. I want to say it's either the 6th or the 7th. I apologize for not knowing the exact date. But if you just go to the Stand's website, it'll be on there. It'll be free. And it's gonna be a great battle. Eli's a great competitor and a good friend.
And where can people find you on Twitter and Instagram?
Follow me Twitter and Instagram. Zach is not funny. You can Snapchat me a picture of your cat at Zach Amico, and listen to the Real Ass Podcast every single week. It's myself, Louis J. Gomez, and Chris Tinkle. I think we're putting together a really funny show. It's on Gas Digital Network, but also you can listen to it for free on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you listen to podcasts on.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming down.
No, thank you so much for having me, Earl.
You're one of the rising stars of Roast Battle and super funny comics. So become a fan of Zach, guys, and hopefully we can get more New York roasters on the show. We all love each other. It's one big happy family, minus one or two people, and you'll find out who they are sooner than later. Karma comes in all forms, guys. And I hear every bad word said.